You have former Governor Jesse Ventura, who's an explosive expert.
Please.
You have Bill Doyle, the head of the Coalition of 9/11 Families, says that half of the families, half of the widows, say it's an inside job. We have Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bowman of the U.S. Air Force. He was head of the Star Wars program, says inside job. Andre von Bülow, the former German defense
so you're saying,
inside job.
So Mark, you're saying somebody who they report to be the dumbest human being on the planet, George Bush, was able to plan out in the first first 9 months.
George Bush is a spokesperson and a puppet for these powers that are in control.
So who is it that planned 9/11? Who is it that put it all together? And George Bush ended up being the president when 9/11 happened. What's the name of the? You're giving me a lot of names. What's the name of the person that in fact put this all together, thought it all out for the inside job to happen?
Why don't you look at the Project for the New American Century?
Why don't you tell me? Tell me, you're on the air. Tell me who it was that, in fact, planned this all out.
Stop cutting me off.
I want an answer.
Listen, you go and look at the Project for the.
I don't want to look at the project. I don't want to look at the project. I want you to give me a name.
Look at the names on the list.
Give me
look at the high-level names in the defense.
Give me the names. Give me the names.
I suggest that you go and watch.
No, you give me the names. Give me the names.
Stop cutting me off here. Listen, I'm not an insider. I don't have the specific names. We have the specific instances and the evidence of these terrorists not being stopped, of the investigations being blocked.
Mark, come on. You're sending DVDs. You're sending DVDs to the troops.
Hijackings going on that morning.
Mark.
Mermaid cutting charges found in the wreckage of the World Trade Center.
Mark, you're sending DVDs to the military talking about the Kennedy administration, the Johnson administration. You're saying George Bush himself was not responsible for what happened on 9/11. That there was other plans out there, other people putting these things in. You tell me a website to go to. Just give me some names. What organization, what party, what political persuasion, what group of people was responsible, or were responsible then, for doing these things to prepare the World Trade Center to fall as it fell as an inside job on 9/11. You have all this information. Just tell us who that is.
Yeah. High-level elements within the CIA, within the Defense Department, within the Security Council.
But you have no names?
Project for the New American Century. Go look at the Project for the New American Century, where they called for a new Pearl Harbor attack so that they could carry out their agenda in the Middle East.
You mean to tell me you have no names?
He did not plan this. George Bush is a spokesperson and a propagandist, and you phony conservatives should be ashamed of him.
But you have no names?
For his impeachment.
Well, he's going to be gone January 20th, 2009, Mark, but you have no names? Come on.
We have the declassified documents. We have instances of terrorism. We have all of the evidence that something happened here that is not being told to us. We need a new investigation. Did you know that over 84% of Americans think that we've been lied to about the circumstances of 9/11 and are demanding a new investigation? Last September 11th at Ground Zero, there were thousands of individuals marching, demanding a new investigation. Like I said, Bill Doyle, the head of the Coalition of 9/11 Families, that's the largest organization of 9/11 widows. He says that half of the family members believe that 9/11 was an inside job. So I'm saying that this needs to be reinvestigated. There's been a major cover-up. This has been admitted in every major poll in the country, and it's phonies like you that are spewing your hatred towards people like me and others. And you have taken your rhetoric to a new and unprecedented and dangerous level. And just because you have me on your show and you apologize doesn't mean that you should not be held legally and civilly accountable for calling for my murder and others' murder. Do you understand the ramifications of suggesting that to millions of people in an age when you can track down somebody's home address on the internet?
Mark, let me take a break. Take a break. That's how you pay for these things. Mark Dice on the hotline. Resistance Manifesto. I'm Mike Reagan at 1-800-468-MIKE. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.
Saluting America every single day. It's the Michael Reagan Show.
We're back, everybody. Mike Reagan here. 1-800-468-MIKE. 1-800-468-6453. Mark Dice from Resistance Manifesto on the hotline, joining me today on the show. Mark, back to some of these things. You want more investigations of 9/11. Who's going to do the investigation? Government already, in fact, went through it. We have a whole 9/11 report. Do you not trust the people who were on the panel who, in fact, investigated 9/11?
Look, the panel, the heads admitted that they were set up to fail. President Bush didn't allot only a few $1 million into the investigation. He was dragging his feet, didn't even want to testify, then finally settled not testifying under oath, side by side with Dick Cheney so that they could keep their story straight. Listen, this
who do you think's controlling them?
Investigated by an unbiased commission. You know, something else.
There's nothing known as unbiased, Mark. You and I both know there's nothing unbiased back in Washington, D.C., but who do you think's controlling George Bush and Dick Cheney?
Well, maybe you could do a show on the Bilderberg Group and the private interest in the Council on Foreign Relations, these private companies.
Those are such old stories, Mark. Those are so...
I'm sorry, the Bilderberg Group meeting was just 2 weeks ago in Chantilly,
but it's an old
Virginia.
story. It's like they've been around for years about the Bilderbergs.
Yeah, and why is it that nobody will address these issues? They just met 2 weeks ago in Chantilly, Virginia, 150 of the world's most powerful and influential people, and nobody in the mainstream press covers this? It's not an old story, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, because it really goes nowhere when you do bring it up. I used to bring it up, in fact, years ago on the show. But again, all right, so the Bilderbergs, let's give it to the Bilderbergs and all that kind of stuff. Who's going to investigate them? Because if what you say is true, then the Bilderbergs basically control everybody anyway.
Perhaps we need an international council, an international investigation.
Oh, please. You don't want to go international with this.
You know, something else that came to mind here, you said it's a beautiful sunny day here in California. Is that what you said? I was under the impression that you're out of the country. I'm not
out of the country yet. I'm not out of the country yet, so that's, Anyway, okay. I happen to be, in country at this point in time.
I want to ask you what you think would happen if a left-wing host were to call for the murder, the unqualified, unequivocal tracking down and murdering of an individual.
Well, let's see. There's been Mike Malloy, Randy Rhodes. They've been calling for the murder of George Bush and what have you, and so on. And we radio talk shows sometimes we get fired up in what we say. We get angry and stuff like that. And sometimes we say things that are absolutely stupid, and we make mistakes. But I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you the difference between the Randy Rhodes and the Mike Malloys and things of this nature. And the difference is, Mark, I put you on the show and apologize, call you on the phone and apologize. They never apologized for what they've asked people to do to George Bush, Dick Cheney, and, oh, by the way, what the liberal left has asked to be done to my father when he was alive. In fact, even after he's been passed away, things they've said about my father, what they should do with the body. So, I'm used to that. The difference is that I realized my mistake, called you like a man, and apologized like a man. That's what I did. That's what that side doesn't do.
You realized your mistake after you understood that an FBI report had been filed.
I had no idea. Listen, I was out of state when all that.
The complaints were coming into the FCC.
Mark. Anyway, I did. Mark, you can sit there and talk about me all day long. Mark, you talk about me all day long, but let me ask you, how are you funded?
How am I funded? I have a day job, sir. I work almost 50 hours a week, okay? And I'm going to sit here and I'm taking my time to get this information out to people. This is a passion of mine.
Okay, it's a passion, by the way. I put you on this morning so you can tell it. If people want to, in fact, find out more about your passion, people want to find out more about your passion, people want to find out more about your passion, Mark. Where do they find out more about your passion?
I'm sorry, there's something called crosstalk in radio. As a host, I would think you would know what that is. I don't know if you're familiar with how to conduct an interview.
Mark, I'm asking you a question, and you're talking over me. Let me ask you a question. We have about 40 seconds left, Mark. Mark, we have 40 seconds left. People want to find out more about your resistance manifesto. Where can they find it?
Fantastic. MarkDice.com. I'm the author. The Resistance Manifesto is my book, actually. It's out of print. A revised edition is coming out soon, available at MarkDice.com. We're working with several distributors to try to get it out into stores, and it's over 450 pages of declassified documents, mainstream sources, and it's a dark web of evil that I think that every American should read. And right now on Google Video, you can watch Alex Jones's Terror Storm documentary film for free, which costs tens of thousands of dollars to produce. Also, Loose Change Final Cut on the internet, on Google Video, for free. These individuals are Americans. They care about this country. They're getting this information out for free.
Mark, we're out of time. Thank you for joining me. Again, I'm sorry for what I said. I hope you've had your 30 minutes of fame. appreciate you coming by.
I want to